Tennessee on Thursday. Play there at 5:30. It's not televised linear because I think the college football playoff. So it'll be streamed on SEC Network Plus. We leave tomorrow. First Kim Mulkey show at TJ Ribs of the season tonight. So have at it. Raise your hand. We'll get a mic to you.
Kim, I imagine you're just as anxious to see what your team can do as the rest of us. Do you feel like you got a handle on where they are right now?
Well, sometimes I do. Some quarters we look really good, and some quarters, like the fourth quarter of the last game, we just kind of coasted. Let's talk about Tennessee. First of all, I'm going to be listening to Good Old Rocky Top. Woo! But I like that song. Tennessee is very good. They have a ton of new players, like about 10 transfers, and the style of play is like nothing I've ever seen. They score a lot of points, and they make you play fast with their press, and it's going to be quite a challenge to keep them from scoring in the 90s. That seems to be their magic number. We score a lot of points, but I got to stress defense. At some point, we got to try to stop them from scoring as much as they'd like to score. And I didn't know this until a few minutes ago, that we lead the SEC in field goal percentage defense. Did y'all know that? So Corey's the only one in here that knew that. And I didn't know that Tennessee was last in field goal percentage defense. So in football, your defensive coordinators would say it's our defense against their offense, right? But we don't do that in basketball. You got to play both ends.
Yeah, Coach, obviously you talked about how unique they are. Can you take pieces from other games, from other offenses y'all have played with their shooting, and kind of help implement
No,
against them?
they're different. I can't take that because they substitute 4 and 5 at a time to start the game. Now, I don't see them substituting like that in the fourth quarter, but throughout the game, Coach Caldwell plays a lot of players, and it doesn't matter who you are and how good you're playing. I mean, she has her system in place, and she's won with that system. She's not going to change, and why would she? She's winning.
Coach, I've heard a few fans say that Gilbert's got some Alexis Morris in her. Does she remind you of her at all anyway in the way she plays? And
Yes, she has that chip on her shoulder that she wants to prove to a lot of naysayers that she's not what they say she was, and that she is an outstanding player, and she can score with the best guarding her. And so I can see that a little bit. I think it's probably from the scoring. And then the speed and quickness, I think Alexis' on-ball defense was probably a little bit more advanced than Gilbert is right now, and we work really hard with Gilbert on taking care of the ball, not turning it over. Now, she's not a point guard like Alexis, but she could go out there and I could run some quick hitters for her, but she's just got a knack for scoring the basketball.
And she brought that up in the post-game press conference about the negative talk in the portal. I didn't hear any of that, but was that something that you picked up on when she came here, that she wanted to prove some people wrong?
No, I didn't pick up on it till I listened to her in the press conference as well. I do talk to her about don't take it too personal when you're playing a team that maybe you've got, a little, what do you say, up your crawl because they didn't recruit you or they said something about you. Don't take it to that level. Just do what you do and be very good at what you do and help us win. And boy, has she. She's done a tremendous job for us.
Kim, Charlie Cream in his latest bracketology called your team an enigma. Do you think that's fair? Do you think they're a bit of a puzzlement to you as well to know exactly how good you are? And then obviously you got a stretch of games coming up where, there's a lot will be seen.
I think so. That's fair. I'm an enigma. I've been called that too. I don't let people get too close. And I guess it's a good thing, right? It's not a bad thing. I'd like to also say that I think we're a program that's built a solid foundation in a short period of time. And you can still be an enigma and be coaching for many years. So it's fair. We've been called worse, right? I don't look at that as a bad thing. I look at that as we puzzle people. We were an enigma when we won the championship. So that's good.
Kim, their quickness on both ends. What would you think is how do you stop them from trying to get up and down the floor, and how do you not allow their defense to get you guys sped up? Like, what's the main, I guess, key there?
You can't turn the ball over against Tennessee. Now, I say that, and Oklahoma turned it over 31 times and won. You cannot turn the ball over against their press. It's more of a run and jump press with a lot of length coming at you, and that quickness that you just mentioned. So you can't turn the ball over, and you have to really, really work hard to keep them off the offensive boards. That Tennessee-Oklahoma game, obviously, I looked at it, and how do you win turning the ball over 31 times? Well, there were a lot of points in the paint. A lot of layups in the paint. And Tennessee gets to the paint and gets a lot of stuff in the paint as well. But they also, I think, average 12 threes a game. That's not just throwing it to them and they shoot. That's stopping them from getting in the paint to create those threes. So they are really, really good. They're really athletic, and they play a lot of players, and we're going to have to focus and just try our best to defend that.
Are you happy with how you all have been defending since you got back from Christmas?
Reed, I have to be careful. I don't know that any coach that's type A, intensity, passion is ever just happy. Like, you're going to always look for something to motivate them, to keep them honest, to keep them hungry. And so that's what I try to do. And then I get these people that slap these stats at me and say, well, Coach, you lead the league in field goal percentage defense. So I have to be a realist and go, am I being fair? Am I being fair? And I think it's the details. It's the details of the little things that we need to get better at if we want to be one of the teams talked about at the end of the season to get to host. And so I see all the stats. I understand that, but it's just the little things that I think we can do better.
Can you talk about where Jersey was in November to where she is now, and where do you think she's going to be in the weeks to come, or where you maybe hope she's going to be for you?
Well, Jersey set out an entire year, and so I had to be fair with her. Samaya really set out a year with her knee surgery, so I have to be fair to them, and I have to get them back into the basketball mindset that it's not going to be easy starting out. You're learning a new system. Jersey, talking about Jersey, that was your question. Learn a new system, learn how we do things defensively, and now she's back to being an inside presence where she hadn't been for a while. So what do you have to do? You got to get her stronger. You got to make her bump and be able to take hits and still score, go up and block that shot, and when you block it, make sure they don't score. I think she has improved tremendously. It may not show sometimes, but I know what we had to work with when she got here, and I know where we are today. She has the size to alter shots. She really has great footwork for a big girl. She can defend as good on the perimeter when they take her off the drive as any post that we have. So I think she's just progressed a lot. But we're not there yet. And I don't know if it'll happen for her today, tomorrow, next year, get stronger in the weight room. But she has some skills of a guard in that tall body.
Basketball coach once told me that consistency is the thing that they want the most, right? And they can work with consistency if they know what they're getting. When I look at Anissa's game, that's what I think is, as good as she is, that's what she is to me, consistent, I guess. Just what do you appreciate about her, and why is she playing at the level she is?
I appreciate her work ethic and practice. What you see on the floor in the game is because of what she does she only knows one speed. And when Nice goes on the floor, you hold your breath because, you know her knees are what they are, and but she never wavers from just going all out. And to think that, I think I'm right, she's leading the country in rebounding, right? She just goes and gets the ball. And maybe that's why Samaya and Jersey and others don't get that many rebounds. I think she's getting them all. But we need to spread the wealth around. They need to all rebound the ball. But her work ethic is second to none in practice, and that's what you see in a game. She just got a motor, and it never stops.
Kim, as you guys get deeper into conference play, obviously starting on Thursday afternoon, but how attainable is the performance and production that you're getting out of point guard? How do you get more out of that group?
We have, and I think this has been overlooked, maybe been overlooked because of my focus on point guard play in the 5 spot, but we have the best depth of guard play that I've had since I've been at LSU. I mean, we've got 6 to 7 players that can go, and you may see that Thursday. I may have to go ahead and just say, hey, get out there, we're tired. We got to keep subbing when they sub. So I'm pleased with that. I've always believed in sports you got to have a quarterback. And some coaches have been very successful with a 2-quarterback system because they can throw different things at you through the course of a game. Basically, that's what we've been doing, is a 2-quarterback system. I would love to just have that 1 quarterback, but we're not at that point now where that's the way it is. So I'm pleased in that it's worked for us. What are we, 16-0? It's worked, 17, there you go. It's worked for us, but it makes me work harder because we have to know who to put in the game, when they need to be in the game for defensive purposes, what I need to run for a quick hitter, who needs to be in the game with that point guard. So it's a lot more headaches for me because no one has just separated.
Coach, I'm curious what you think about Kim Caldwell and the job that she's done this year at Tennessee as a young coach, trying to make her mark at the place where Pat Summitt coached.
Yeah. I don't know her personally. I've never had a conversation with her, so I'm going to answer this from a distance. Of course, I played for Pat. It's like playing for Barmore at Tech. Nobody wants to follow in the footsteps of those people. They don't. But what has been good for her is she's had 2 coaches before her. So she's not really following in the footsteps of Pat Summitt. Will that aura always be there? Sure. It'll always be there. But be who you are. What she does is totally different than what Pat did. But it's very successful. And it's brought crowds to the game, and it's put them in the top 25. And so what she does is what she believes in, and it's working. But yeah, I know she's any moment now, I was told, should have a baby. So I hope she has it right there in the middle of the game. I mean, I hope that game gets so excited. I'll go down there and help deliver it and just, Pat Summitt had quite a story when she had her baby. She had to land that plane out of recruiting Marciniak. And so if Kim goes into labor during our game, listen, I have lots of experience. I have too. So come find me, and I'll be there and hold your hand with your husband and whoever else you'll let in the room.
You've been to Knoxville a couple of times recently. Is it one of those places where when you walk in, you can feel history with Summit and all the great players and the national championships and whatnot, or you're just playing the team that they got on the floor?
Probably for me, it is. This generation, I don't know. When I walk in there, I go back to my playing days when they were in Stokely. Before they moved over. So, yeah, certainly it's nostalgic for me and the appreciation I have for what has taken place in that city. I don't know about this generation of players, if they really do or not.
We got time for a couple more. Go Cobble and then Rabelais.
Just looking at Michaela, you can see she's leaner, right? Has that translated into any more production or her ability?
Yeah, I think Michaela is playing good. I think she's focusing on defense. I think she's focusing on rebounding. I think her confidence is really good right now. She's just a sophomore, and sometimes we ask things of her, and we have to step back and go, she's just a sophomore, not even halfway, well, maybe halfway through her sophomore year now. So I'm pleased with Michaela. She would probably sit up here and tell you she's got a lot to improve on, and that's typical Michaela. But she's doing great.
We spoke to Jay Clark after their first meet. He said they had a good score, but he said they're not trying to win a championship in January. I'm sure you feel similarly. You want to win this game, you want to win every game, but your team, they might not be where you want to be in March, or maybe the last thing you want is to be peaking at this time of year. How do you feel about all that?
Well, you just answered everything for me, Scott. Yeah, it's January. Every game matters, but every game is not make or break you. Here's what you do. You win the games you're supposed to win. You beat somebody you're not supposed to beat. You shock them. And then you take care of business at home. And if you can do those things, you're going to be one of the teams that gets to host. I looked at rankings, which I never do, but I had to look at rankings because I was asked a question and I was like, I don't want to be uneducated. I didn't know we had this many teams ranked in the top 25 and receiving votes. Now, last year we didn't have that, did we? And everybody thought that hurt us, when it came time to have selections at the end of the year. I'm not so sure having this many ranked doesn't hurt us too, because you're playing people twice, and then your top teams are supposed to be your top teams are playing each other twice. Is that going to help or hurt us? I don't know. I can't answer that. But yeah, this is not a make or break game. And truly, who's supposed to win Thursday? Who's supposed to win? I don't know. We're confident in that we feel like we can win every game we play, but we're also realists and we understand how hard it is to play on the road. We understand how excited everybody is about Tennessee's program right now and the style of play that they have. So let's just go play. Let it be a good SEC game, and we've got to see them again. So let's go listen to Rocky Top a little bit.
All right, guys, thank you.
Thank y'all.